Have you ever noticed something strange about AI?
When you ask it a question, even one it's not sure about, it answers. It doesn't go silent.
Most people find that slightly unsettling. Here's what should unsettle you more. Your brain does exactly the same thing. Right now, as you watch this, there is a hole in your vision, a literal gap in the data your eyes are sending to your brain. It's called the blind spot, first described by a French scientist named Edmé Mariotte in the 1660s. And it's not a theory. Modern eye anatomy shows it directly. The optic nerve exits through a region of the retina that has 0 light-sensitive cells. No receptors, no signal, nothing. You are briefly blind many times every second. You never notice because your brain paints over the hole. Well, if you still don't believe in me, try this. Close your left eye. Stare only at the plus sign with your right eye. Come closer to the screen. Don't move your gaze. Now, slowly move your head back from the screen. At a certain distance, the dot disappears. Not because the dot moved, because it fell into the hole in your vision. And your brain automatically, instantly, without asking your permission, filled the gap with the background. You never saw the hole. You saw a continuous, seamless reality that your brain invented for you. This is not a glitch. It's the brain doing what it always does, taking incomplete data and generating the most plausible version of the truth, a prediction. An extremely accurate one, but not perfect. And here's the question that this video is really about. If your brain constructs your ordinary reality, what is it constructing when you're dreaming? What is it constructing at the edge of sleep? What happens when the construction itself breaks down? And what's left when the brain stops constructing a you at all? State 1, ordinary waking. This one. Right now. The state you've been in since you woke up and will be in until you fall asleep tonight. It feels like reality. That's the point. That's what it's supposed to feel like. But you just saw what the brain does with a blind spot. It constructs. It fills gaps. It generates the most plausible version of the world and presents it to you as fact. Ordinary waking consciousness is the same operation, running continuously at every level of perception. There's a network in your brain called the default mode network, the DMN. Think of it as the brain's internal narrator. It runs a continuous story about you, your past, your future, your identity, your regrets, your fears, your plans. When you're not doing anything demanding, it takes over completely. Studies show that 47% of waking hours, nearly half your conscious life, you are not present in what you're doing. You're inside the story the DMN is telling about you. Remember the DMN. It is the protagonist of this entire map. Every state we're about to enter does something different to it. And the states that do the most radical things to it produce the most radical experiences known to human consciousness. The first crack in the self isn't dramatic. It doesn't require darkness or chemicals or decades of meditation. It can happen at your desk tomorrow morning. And when it does, the narrator goes quiet. State 2, flow. Have you ever been so absorbed in something that you looked up and 2 hours had vanished? That experience has a name, a mechanism, and a brain signature. It's called flow. And what happens in the brain has a technical name, transient hypofrontality. The prefrontal cortex, the seat of self-monitoring, self-criticism, second-guessing, the voice that says, "Am I doing this right?" temporarily reduces its output. The DMN, the narrator from the last section, goes quiet. The story about you pauses. And the best version of your performance exists in the gap, when you disappear. You stop thinking about doing the thing, and you simply do it.
State 3. Lucid Dreaming.
What if I told you some of humanity's greatest discoveries were born inside dreams? The sewing machine, the structure of benzene, even ideas that inspired scientific breakthroughs. Not ordinary dreams, lucid dreams. A state where you know you're dreaming and can explore worlds limited only by your imagination. 1975. A psychologist named Keith Hearn sets up an experiment that should be impossible. He has a subject, a trained lucid dreamer. The agreement between them: when you become conscious inside the dream, move your eyes left, right, in the exact pattern we agreed on before you fell asleep.
The subject is completely asleep. Then, the eyes move. Left, right. Left, right.
A sleeping brain just sent a deliberate, pre-agreed signal to the waking world. For the first time in scientific history, there was proof you can be fully conscious, aware, thinking, choosing inside a dream. At the exact moment of becoming lucid, a burst of gamma waves, 40 hertz, fires over the prefrontal cortex, and the fully generated, physically realistic dream environment stays intact. What can you do inside it? Anything the brain can construct. Fly. Confront psychological figures that represent buried parts of yourself. Rehearse performances, surgeries, speeches, athletic movements with full sensory fidelity. Researchers are now finding that motor skills trained in lucid dreams show measurable transfer to waking performance. Reality checks. 10 times today, stop and genuinely ask, am I dreaming right now? Push a finger into your palm. Read a sentence, look away, read it again. In dreams, these tests fail in specific ways. Do this consistently for 2 weeks, and the habit transfers automatically into your dreams. For faster results, set an alarm for 5 hours after sleep. Stay awake for 20 minutes. Return to sleep with one clear intention: I will know I'm dreaming. Studies using this method report lucidity rates above 50%. But before we go further, we need to stop and ask a question that changes what consciousness even means. Because everything we've talked about assumes consciousness is a single, unified thing, one experience, one you. What if that assumption is completely wrong? In 2012, a group of prominent neuroscientists signed a document called the Cambridge Declaration on Consciousness. Their conclusion? Consciousness is not unique to humans. The evidence supports conscious experience in many animals, including octopuses. An octopus has around 500 million neurons. The majority of those neurons are not in its brain, they're in its arms. In laboratory studies, an octopus arm, severed from the body, continues to coordinate movement, react to stimuli, and explore objects for up to an hour. The arm is not receiving instructions. It is, in some sense, thinking. One octopus, named Inky, escaped from an aquarium in New Zealand, crossed an open floor, found a drain pipe, and navigated back to the ocean. Not because the central brain planned every step, but because cognition, awareness, was distributed across the whole system. If consciousness can be distributed across 8 semi-independent arms, is it always one unified experience? Or can it be multiple streams running in parallel inside one body? In the 1960s, neuroscientists Roger Sperry and Michael Gazzaniga studied patients who had undergone a surgery for severe epilepsy. As part of the procedure, doctors cut the corpus callosum, the thick bundle of nerve fibers that connects the brain's left and right hemispheres, to prevent seizures from spreading between the two sides of the brain. After surgery, most of the patients seemed fine in daily life. Normal conversation, normal movement, normal memory. But in the lab, something extraordinary emerged. When the researchers showed an image only to the patient's left visual field,
which sends information to the brain's right hemisphere, and asked the patient what they saw, the patient said nothing. But their left hand reached out and pointed to the object. The right hemisphere knew. The verbal self didn't. Two streams of awareness inside one skull, unable to talk to each other. Also, some patients developed what doctors called the alien hand syndrome. One hand buttoning a shirt, the other hand immediately unbuttoning it. One hand reaching for an object, the other hand pushing it away. The patient watching both, unable to stop either. We've seen consciousness modified. We've seen it distributed. We've seen its construction. Now, what happens when something goes in and destroys the construction entirely? Not gradually, not partially, in one chemical detonation. State 4, Psychedelic State. 2016, Imperial College London. Researchers give participants psilocybin, the active compound in psychedelic mushrooms, and put them inside an fMRI scanner. What they see in the brain has never been recorded in a living human before. The default mode network, the DMN, the narrator, the self-construction machine from the very beginning of this map, collapses. Not quiets, not reduces, collapses. And in the space it leaves, brain regions that never communicate with each other are suddenly in direct, synchronized conversation. Visual areas talking to memory systems, auditory regions firing alongside motor circuits. The brain has rewired itself into a configuration it normally never runs. Researchers measured something called neural entropy, the mathematical complexity of brain activity. In ordinary waking, entropy is moderate. Under psilocybin, it increases dramatically. The brain becomes, in a precise, measurable sense, more complex, more unpredictable. Colors become more saturated than you knew was possible. Music restructures itself. It gains physical depth and dimensionality that ordinary hearing doesn't have access to. Emotional memories surface with full physical weight. Geometric patterns appear with eyes closed. The visual system generating images from pure internal dynamics, zero external input. There is a temptation to see this as an upgrade to consciousness. Scientists don't see it that way. What you're watching is a brain operating outside its normal constraints. Sometimes that produces insight, sometimes confusion, sometimes experiences so convincing that they feel impossible to doubt. The fact that an experience feels profound does not guarantee that it is wise, true, or safe. There is one final state. It cannot be scheduled, it cannot be rehearsed. It happens at the boundary of biological death. State 5, Near-Death Experience. University of Michigan, 2023. Researchers monitoring patients in cardiac arrest expect to watch a brain power down. Instead, they see gamma waves surge. Not noise, a significant organized surge of 40 Hz gamma activity. The same frequency associated with peak waking attention, with the moment of lucid dream onset, with the states of highest conscious clarity recorded in living brains. In a brain where the heart has stopped beating. The researchers were careful. They didn't say this explains anything. They said, the question is now open. Between 10 and 20% of people resuscitated from cardiac arrest report an experience. Not random, consistent, across cultures, across centuries, across people with no knowledge of each other's accounts. A tunnel, a light, warm, not harsh. A life review, not sequential memory, but the full emotional weight of every moment, compressed and simultaneous. Profound peace, deceased relatives, and a certainty, not belief, not hope, that what exists past that boundary is not what death appeared to be. The most documented long-term effect? Permanent loss of fear of death. Not recklessness, A specific, quiet knowing that shapes how they live afterward. More present, less driven by what used to drive them. And what current neuroscience cannot explain is this. The moment a brain should be shutting down, it produces the most organized, high-frequency activity it ever generates. Maybe the self is not the limit of what you are. Maybe the construction is a container, and what it contains, that remains the open question. Your brain is a machine that works so well that most people go their entire lives without ever stepping back to look at the machinery. But the machinery can be seen, and once you see it, you can work with it. 3 things you can start tonight. No substances, no equipment, no special conditions. 1. Tonight, as you fall asleep, try to stay at the threshold without crossing it. Don't try to sleep. Try to watch yourself falling asleep. Stay at the edge of the hypnagogic. Even 30 seconds of that observation is 30 seconds of seeing the construction in real time. 2. Tomorrow, pick one task at the edge of your ability. 20 minutes, no interruptions. Let the narrator go quiet and see what's left when it does. 3. Start reality checks today. 10 times. Just stop and genuinely ask, am I dreaming right now? Push a finger into your palm. Do it for 2 weeks. Something will happen in your dreams that you will not forget. The full map of human inner space is not behind a lab door or a monastery wall. Most of it is available to you in your own nervous system in the next few hours.
Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, see you soon.